On the back of the South African Football Association elections last weekend, it is only right that we speak to the man who will be responsible for steering our football in what we hope will be the right direction. We are joined by Dr Danny Jordaan. Dr. Jordaan, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Sports and Winning Live.
Good morning, and it's wonderful to be with you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Jordaan, let's start with some of the really positives that we've seen during your tenure at SAFA. We've seen the under-20s and the under-17 teams coached by Thabo Sendong as well as Simpiwe Dludlu competing at the highest level. Would you say that we have stumbled on this golden generation, or would you say the structure, which we've heard so many people say is something that needs to change at SAFA, is that structure responsible for these positive results?
I think let us start with our national teams. We have 10 national teams. Of the 10 national teams, Bafana is ranked number 68 in the world. There are 211 countries in the world. In other words, there are 143 countries below South Africa. When you go to Banyana, they rank number 58 in the world. And they are number 3 on the continent. In other words, on the continent, there are 51 countries below Banyana. You go to under 23. Our under 23 went to 2 consecutive World Cups. Only 24 countries go there. It means that 187 countries did not go to the Olympics. South Africa did. You talk about Thabo Sendong and under 20. 24 countries go. In other words, 187 countries is below South Africa on the under 20. On the continent, only 4 countries go. It means that 48 countries didn't go. So I'm saying that it was election, and I understand that. But we have to come back to the realities. What are the things that we have to do? We have to look at what are the structural challenges that we have. And FIFA has, under Arsene Wenger and Joel Ellis, who is the coach who won 2 consecutive World Cups for the USA, they have made research of every single country in the world. And they have identified where the issues are. Let us compare Bafana 1996 and the conditions that changed and Bafana now.
Present day.
When Bafana won the AFCON in 1996, they had played 10 international friendly matches. They used to play a 4-nations tournament. That Bafana team had 1 month in camp in preparation of AFCON. And I can tell you now, give Bafana 1 month in camp, they will do very well at the AFCON. That thing has changed. Why? Because at that time there was not a thing called the international match calendar. When FIFA introduced the match calendar, it set out only 8 days for national teams. And when the last match, qualification, when we play Liberia, we have the international match calendar is given us from the 19th of September to the 27th of September. Now, in that period of 9 days, we must play away. And if Liberia wants to play in Morocco, we must get to Morocco. We must fly back. So within 9 days, you will take 2 days for travel. You have to play 2 matches. And you have 3 days for preparation. Now show me the coach anywhere in the world that has a team for 3 days and win the World Cup. The Springboks had 3 months preparation. So that is the one issue. So we're saying the international match calendar is not working. And we have to make proposals to say, how do you change this thing?
And that's where I want to get to, Dr. Jordaan. This is the situation that we find ourselves in. This is what we're working with, as are all the other countries in the continent that are going to be playing in these qualifiers for AFCON. So what is it that we need to do now to try and fix the problem so that we can get to a level where we are all proud of what our national teams are doing?
We have to do 2 things. In the immediate, we have to sit down with the professional league and find a way to give Bafana more time for preparation. in the long terms, there is already a proposal to say this club versus country challenge must be dealt with. And the way the proposal has come from Arsene Wenger is to say, let us have October and November dedicated for the national team. Let's have November to May totally dedicated for club football. And then we go back June and July for international football. That will avoid a situation where the players have to travel up and down. Look at what happened to Egypt. They played in Cameroon. They had to rush off to play now for the club.
For the Club World Cup.
And so on. So
yes.
No player can take that amount of travel and can perform. So those are the issues. But in the short term, as I said, one, we have to strengthen the technical capacity inside SAFA. We have to harness technology in performance enhancement of our national teams. And we have to recruit more people into the technical space. And we said this we'll do through consultation. It's not for me to set out all of the details, but we will call.
And
all
as
of
you
those
touch
who
on
have to
that, on the technical capacity,
Yeah.
what is the current situation with the role of the technical director within SAFA?
Well, that is a first priority, that when we meet as an executive, of course, executive was just elected on Saturday. When we meet, it is an item on the agenda that will be resolved, but not just that. From a team preparation standpoint, there is huge technology, analysis of your opposition, tracking of players, all of those things. And so what we have to do, once we have a technical director, we must put a team together, and they must go and look at Aspire in Doha, in Qatar, and look at how do we harness technology in the preparation of our team. Another technical center is Morocco. The medical infrastructure and medical expertise that they have there is just some of the best in the world. So we have to find the investment to invest in our technical center so that it can contribute to the readiness and preparation of our teams.
And that stuff that's high on your agenda as you and the executive committee look to move forward. Let's talk about, again, the under-23s. And I think my question around them now is just, they are such an important team when it comes to, it's the second last step before getting to Bafana Bafana, but the level of competition we've seen them being involved in isn't at the desired level. So how do we get them playing more so that we can groom the players better to feed into the national team?
Absolute crucial point that you raise. You know, if you take Tebogo Mokoena, for example, he went to under-17 World Cup. He went to under-20 World Cup. He went to the Olympics, under-23. Then he joins the team. And now he's not playing. He's not playing. Monliam Porto was one of the best performers in the under-23. He's not a regular. So what we have to look at, and this is part of the global focus on what is happening in world football, is that the issue of squad sizes. Some of the clubs who have a lot of money, whether it's Chelsea, Real Madrid, all of these teams, you have squad sizes, there's no limits. And in South Africa too, there's no limit on squad size. So you can have 60 players on your books, but only 11 can play. The others are not playing. And unfortunately, all over the world, the players want to be in the squad of big teams. So where they can play for a so-called smaller team regularly, which is what we want, they're rather going to sit in a big team in a big squad and don't play. And finances is another matter. And some of them say, I must sit on the bench here, but I get 200,000. If I play for that team, I get 20,000. What do you want me to do? So these are the issues that we have to address. Portugal and Spain has limitations on squad sizes. Most of the African countries, they don't have. But it's a matter that we have to discuss. If you take the last Bafana team, Tebogo Mokoena was not selected. I asked the coach, but he was in your starting lineup. The coach said, but President, he's not playing. He is not playing. So there are many other players that I can mention, but it's not necessary. The basic point is that you expect players in the starting lineup and the national team must play regularly.
Yeah.
And this is one of the issues that we have to address.
And I suppose it's an issue that we've also seen with some of the goalkeepers in the national squad, with Coach Hugo Bruce saying, well, I have to pick these goalkeepers, although they're not playing because we don't have enough South African goalkeepers playing in the PSL. But unfortunately, Dr. Jordaan, we have run out of time. Thank you so much for availing yourself this morning.
And we don't have time to talk about
There are so many issues. We still wanted to talk about school sports. We still wanted to talk about the Hollywood Bet Super League and the improvement of women's football here in South Africa. But unfortunately, we have run out of time. That's how we wrap up the Sports Bulletin in this hour with the President of the South African Football Association, Dr. Danny Jordaan.